joining us tonight. We are going to be talking about all things related to summertime, beach weather, alternative hair, and how to navigate that. My name's Ashley. I'll be your host tonight. And yeah, let's just get into it. If you are just arriving, make sure that you please let me know your name, if you're comfortable sharing it, where you're from, and any questions that you have. Now, it doesn't have to be limited to, hi, Wig support is here. They're going to answer any questions that you have as well that I'm unable to answer. And they're going to also show the products that I'm featuring on the screen, and that's like a clickable link. So if there's something that you see that you're interested in purchasing, you just click that link and you're going to be able to take a look at the product. So thank you for being here. Excuse me, I'm just going to cough before everybody hops on and pour myself drink of water because I have a feeling I'm going to be choking. All right. We're going to get into it. Nobody's here yet, but that's okay. I'm just going to start with the topper that I was wearing earlier today. It's called, what's it called? I'm losing my mind. It's called, it's a closed lace and it's called Breeze and it's in the color truffle brown. So the reason that I picked that one is because it's one of my personal favorites. And I recently had my kids chop off my hair a little bit so that I could actually wear Breeze because my hair was just a little bit too long for her before. Riley, can you take a peek for me, please, and see if we're going live right now? Because I'm not seeing any numbers popping up. Should I close and restart? It's okay? Okay. All right, so I'm going to start with this closed lace Breeze in the color truffle brown. Breeze is a great option for summertime because she's pretty lightweight while still giving good coverage. She's got a nice large parting area, a couple of wefts, but it's still ultra breathable. So you've got all of this parting area here. So this whole lace area is going to be transparent. So if you have something light colored underneath, it's going to show through and look like scalp. And you can part anywhere in this area, which is so great. Okay. You can see how easily that is applied. It's not challenging at all. I use the halo wire for a little bit of extra grip, which is kind of nice if you have a head shape like mine. Sometimes toppers don't sit nice and flat to the hairline, but using this halo wire is going to help keep it in place. If you're just joining, hi, welcome. Thanks for being here. We are talking about all things related to summertime and alternative hair. So wigs and toppers at the beach, in the sun, by the pool. How do we navigate that? What are the things that we need to be considering when it comes to planning and preparing, but then also aftercare? If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. And if you have a question that's not related to summertime or summer wear, that's okay too. We're here to help. So anything that comes up at all, whether it's wanting to see a particular piece or a particular color or something like that, you can feel free to ask away and I will happily share with you whatever it is that you would like to see. Hi, thanks so much for being here. Let me know where you're from as well. If you feel comfortable sharing that, just let me know. I am in Canada and it's summertime here. So that means we need to be thinking about how do we navigate summertime in alternative hair. So I brought a couple of things with me as sort of like demonstrations of things that we need to consider. So hi, Fafa. Hi there. Thanks so much for being here. Ask any questions that you have and please let me know where you're from. So one of the things that I learned, it is so beautiful, isn't it? Thank you so much for saying. I love this piece. This is actually a Burmese piece in the color Truffle Brown. It's Breeze, it's a closed lace, and it's supposed to be blended with your own biological hair, but you can see I just wear it right to the front of my hairline because I don't have enough bio hair to blend. So I just wear it like that. I think it's so beautiful. And it's actually perfect for summertime because you can always put it up and get that hair off of your neck if you want. So easy. So one of the things that I learned the hard way when I first started wearing alternative hair was about sun exposure and sunscreen. So these are two really important things to consider when it comes to exposure and human hair. Now, if you're wearing synthetics, that's okay. Wigs does sell some synthetic toppers and they sell synthetic wigs. So those are really good options if you are concerned about ruining your human hair pieces in the summertime, is to grab a synthetic alternative and wear it when you're in these situations. So sunscreen, this is one that we don't always think about. I used to apply sunscreen every day to my face under my foundation. So my actual face lotion that I would put on in the morning contained sunscreen. Hi from California. Thank you so much for being here. My name's Ashley and I'm up in Canada. So it is pretty cool to see someone from California. Yeah, this color is amazing. This is the color Truffle Brown. So I was wearing sunscreen on my face every day. And I later found out that that sunscreen could actually be interacting with the hair and changing the color. And it really did on one of my pieces. I started to see some pinky kind of color. And that's when I did the reading and realized that, yes, some of the chemicals in sunscreen, it's the chemical sunscreens, not necessarily the mineral kind, can make your hair turn orange, brassy, pink. So you actually want to be really careful when you're applying it that you wouldn't, if you have face rimming pieces like this, you don't want to have that rubbing on the area that has sunscreen. So you either you're going to want to get a mineral one, or as I said, try a synthetic option. The other thing is sun. So when I got my first topper, I was so excited, but it was during lockdown and I wasn't going to be wearing it every day because we were in lockdown. I stored it in my closet. My closet has windows. And what ended up happening was that the color started to fade and it became a little bit brassy. So that surprised me. But biological hair, as we know, if we go into the sun with our bio hair, which is just the hair that we have on our head, what happens over the summertime? It lightens, right? And that can happen with human hair wigs and toppers as well, even if they are the European virgin pieces. So if you get a virgin piece, like this one, I can put it on a little bit, is the Duchess, the Eurotexture wig from Uniwigs. This is virgin hair. If I go in the sun with this, it's just going to lighten over time. Not like blonde, right? It's going to lighten the way that human hair would lighten in the sun. It's going to be beautiful. But what will happen is if I take a color that has been more processed and dyed, like this one here, it will fade out, but it will also possibly turn a little bit brassy over time. The same would be true with your own biological hair if you had it dyed at the salon. And so we get color touch-ups. Our human hair pieces require color touch-ups more frequently if we're not caring for them properly. So all is to say, I left that topper in the sun in my closet for far too long. And when I went to go put it on some months later, I was putting it on like infrequently here and there. I realized it was a lot lighter and it needed a color touch-up much sooner than the wigs and toppers that I bought subsequently, because I was more careful with those and I stored them in, dry, dark spaces. So just something to consider. So if we're in the sun, we want to be doing something to protect that hair, which means maybe, which one am I wearing? I am wearing what's on the screen there. So the 8.5x9 Breeze in the color Truffle Brown. And anything that you are interested in tonight, as I show different pieces, the support team is going to show them on the screen, and then you can it's a clickable link and it can take you to the website if you want to check it out in more detail. Also, if you are looking for a coupon code, maybe the Uniwig support team can let me know what the code might be for tonight. I think Ashley 15 may be it, but I'm not sure. But there will be a coupon code that you can use at checkout to Oh, there we go. Ashley 15. There you go. So you can check out with that and save an extra 15% on all of these items. And hello from Houston. Thanks for being here. Yeah, this is super natural. I don't know what it looks like in the back because I am not great at styling my hair. I just threw it up in a claw clip. But yeah, you can definitely style a topper anyway. No, I didn't even glue it. So there's a halo wire under here though. I can expose it if I go digging for it. And so that is at the back of my head here, and it's kind of locking it in place. So if I don't have the halo wire, then this would move around and wiggle around. But because there's tension created all the way around, just like a wig would do, right? But toppers, if you don't have that circumference tension, because of the halo wire, it keeps everything in place without the need for any glue, which is pretty remarkable. They came out with this not that long ago, maybe 2 years ago now or something. And it was such a game changer for all of the toppers when I put them on. So it doesn't lift. Mine from another brand always lifts. The one good thing about the Uniwigs pieces is that these toppers, like the one that I'm wearing, should I take it off? I want to leave it on to show it with a hat first, but these halo wires attach to their toppers and they actually include a little hook. So then the wire just fits in there. So it's kind of like part of the construction. You can take it off or you can leave it on. And so then you kind of always have that built-in security, which is really, really nice. So yeah, and I will also say though, different types of cap constructions, halo wire or not, will sit more snugly to your head. So I can go through the ones that I find fit my head the best. But anything that's like a lace of any kind or a monofilament, they tend to sit pretty snugly just because they're not very bulky. So this entire thing is a lace top and a lace front. It's a closed lace, but it's still lace at the front. And so that's nice and lightweight, and it's going to really conform to the head pretty nicely, especially with that halo wire. Thank you also, Melody, for the question. If anybody here does have a question at any point, please feel free to just drop it in the comments. I'm definitely here to answer your question. So please don't feel like you have to wait for an opportunity because I'm going to talk all the way through and show you things all the way through. So feel free to interrupt at any time with any question that you have, whether it's about a color, a style, a question about construction of the cap, anything, just let me know. How do you stop the color from fading in the summer? So I have to be honest, they sell, not conditioners, they sell sunscreens for hair. I've never tried them. I would be worried about putting anything like that on an investment like a wig or topper. So for me, it's about keeping them out of the sun, which is inconvenient, I know. Uniwig sells synthetic, and I don't have any here with me, but I will try to get something for the future to show you. But they do sell synthetic wigs and synthetic toppers. That's what you want to do in the summertime if you're going to be at the pool or at the beach, because they don't fade in the sun. The chlorine doesn't affect them. The salt doesn't affect them. And once they're wet, they will dry back in their shape. They won't lose the style. So they're really, really great options for summer. So really you can't avoid the fade of the human hair, but what you can do is find something that is sort of supplementary and then keep the human hair for after the sun. So, if I have to be in the sun, then I'm going to do something like this, right? Like I'm going to do a wide brim hat with a low ponytail, tuck everything underneath, right? And try to just minimize the amount of sun that the topper is getting. It can fade at any point, but I do find a lot of times for me, the fading kind of starts at the roots, probably because that's what's most exposed. So I would just try to really cover that part in particular. Should I avoid the sun cream? Yes, I would definitely avoid it. So there's a chemical, and I can't remember what it's called, but there's a chemical in a lot of chemical sunscreens that is what causes dyed hair to turn brassy or pinkish over time. So that's kind of what you want to avoid. So I think mineral sunscreen is probably okay. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think it's a better option. But yeah, I would try to avoid the sun cream. Now, your face is what you really want to be protecting, right? But I try to keep my face out of the sun as much as possible if I'm wearing human hair, and then I forgo the sunscreen now and I just stay out of the direct sunlight, or I put on a synthetic, or I put on something that's older. So, you're eventually going to need to get human hair touched up if it's a a dyed piece, not if it's a natural piece, right? If it's like this one, the virgin hair piece from the Duchess collection or the Heritage collection, then you don't need to get touch-ups. But if it's a dyed piece, just like with your biological hair, would need a color refresh at some point. You just won't have to do it as quickly if you're avoiding the sun. So yeah, just try to avoid it and avoid the sunscreen as well for the same reason if you can. Does sewing and topper pull your bio hair? Is it possible to wear underwater? I wear, I just lost that message. Sorry, I wear a swim cap on bio hair at the gym pool for real exercise swimming, but I'm looking for guidance for jumping, diving off a boat at the lake and visiting with friends. I think so. I haven't tried. I guess I should try. I don't have the kind of pool that you can jump into. It's an above ground. I did do a swim test last year, or the year before, in a wig, going underwater, playing around in a full wig, and it was fine. It didn't come off. And I did once wear a human hair wig to a water park. Actually, this is what you could do. And now, if I had, I was preparing to talk about this topic tonight, but I hadn't remembered that I tried this before. I got a wide band headband from Amazon, like really wide. You know, the ones that you can kind of fold this way or open right up. And I wore a human hair wig in a low ponytail or a low bun, I guess it was. And then I wore this wide headband over top. And that's what I did at the water park, and everything stayed put. So that's an option. I can't promise that the wig will stay on or the topper will stay on if you're jumping into the water. That one, yeah, I would probably just wear a hat. I feel like if it would stay on with whatever you're doing, if it would stay on with a hat, a tight hat, you can get away with it. If not, you may not be able to. I'd like to show you something that could be an option for you though. And that is to put a topper on upside down. Let me grab something. Now, I don't know where you need the coverage, but if you were to do a wide headband or a semi-wide headband, and then wear a topper upside down. So this is probably not a great one to use, but I'm going to use it anyways. This is Upgrade Claire. She has a lace piece, so I probably wouldn't use a lace wig, but I don't have a lot of bio hair at all. So you would need probably more biological hair than I have. But what you can do is put the topper on upside down. I don't know if you can hear me still from this angle, but I used to do this a lot more when I felt like my hair was a bit thicker. So I would put the topper on upside down because I felt like my ponytail was the part that was too thin. Now this is not a ton of hair still because the ponytail is small because I used a really tiny topper. But if I were to use a wider topper with more hair, then you would get a bigger ponytail. And so then I would do something like this it's not the perfect match color. And then I would do a wide headband so that at least I felt like I had more hair. So that's an option as well. But over time, like, you do not want to be doing this with the topper that you want the color to stay pristine all summer. So I would do that with an older one that I've had for a couple of years, and I'm ready to either retire or get a color job on them before I go to get the color refresh. Then I would use it as sort of like a play wig or play topper, if that makes sense. How many times oiling in the week? Oh, I think I skipped a question, sorry. So I'm sorry that I didn't really have a lot more to say about the diving off of a boat. And perhaps I'm sure there's someone in the community who has done that. Because I haven't had that experience, it's not something that I've really tried or played around with. So I hope that that's sort of helpful, Julia. I'm sorry if it isn't. I live in Georgia. Maybe also if someone in the comments, if at any point somebody asks a question and you have an answer, it's something that you've kind of been through yourself and you can kind of help, please do feel free to sort of use this space as a community to just share and help one another out. Georgia, I need a topper that works in heat and humidity. I have Airy Elegance. I love it, but it will be too hot this summer. Airy Elegance is too hot. I don't know that there's a whole lot more that I could suggest in terms of toppers for heat and humidity if you want that type of coverage. So I'll just show everyone who is watching Airy Elegance if I can find her here. I know I have her on the rack because I saw her earlier this evening. But she's escaping me now. So Airy Elegance is similar to the one that I just showed you in that she's, oh my goodness gracious. I'm so sorry. There she is. Here's a closed lace Airy Elegance. So she's similar to the Breeze, but a smaller circumference, not circumference, but cap size. So we've got this generous parting area and then the wefts around the side. If I'm assuming that you like the coverage of Airy Elegance, so I don't know that there's much else that you could do other than go for Featherlight, which has no wefting at all, if I'm not mistaken. And I feel like I might have somewhere here, but I'm not certain. Featherlight is entirely lace, so you don't have to worry about any of the wefts if you find those to be warm. But beyond that, the only other option that I really, oh, there it is. The only other option that I can conceive of is to go for a smaller cap. So go like with an Upgrade Claire, which is a little bit smaller. Or something like Vexora, which is really, really small, but I don't know if that's going to work for you because of the coverage. So just wearing it up. I think at the end of the day, there is a limit to what we can do in terms of making them feel weightless. Some of these are pretty darn close, but there's going to be something there. So this is the Featherlight. So it's an entirely lace cap. It's going to be more breathable. I don't know if it comes in a closed lace though. Maybe the Wig support team can let me know that. This is the lace front one, so it's not a closed lace. You're going to see it lift on me because I don't have the halo wire installed on it, but that the whole thing is lace. So because of that, it should feel pretty lightweight on the head. If you find that the wefting is what kind of weighs things down, you could do a low ponytail or something like that. I don't know if that helps. Can I compare espresso brown and truffle brown? Yes, I can. Oh, right. Oil. Sorry. Radio Rishi asks, how many times oiling a week and the best oil? So you can use almost any oil that is meant for hair or not. I've used marula oil on my hair before. Like anything that you can buy for hair oil is going to be fine. The one that I happen to have, because it was recommended to me when I first started wearing alternative hair, is the Argan of Morocco one. This one's empty, so I used the whole thing, and I have another one upstairs in my bathroom that I still use. It's a little perfumey, like there's a scent to it. I don't love that, but I do like how it works. It's not too heavy. When you first spray it, it's going to look a little bit wet almost, but as you brush it through and just sort of rub the hair gently with your hands, massage it in, it will become invisible. So how many times a week really depends on the climate in which you live, the time of the year, and then the conditions of your house. So, sorry, and you can tell I'm sniffling because I have allergies that just kicked in. In Canada, where I live, it gets really, really cold in the winter. We have a fireplace on each floor because it's so cold to try to warm things up. That makes my house extra dry. Then I apply this stuff daily, basically, in the middle of the winter. But in the summertime, it might just be once a week or once every couple of weeks. So you kind of get a sense of it over time as you feel the hair like, oh, this needs a little something. The other thing that you can use in addition to this that I happen to love, and I didn't bring a bottle down with me, but it's the BioSilk Silk Therapy. It is like a serum, and I'm pretty sure it has silicone in it. So I would use this, and then, like, let's say I use this at night, and then the next morning, so I take the topper off, I spray this, or the wig off, I spray a little bit of this, and then the next morning I use some BioSilk. It smells really good. It's a light scent, and it coats the hair and makes it feel silky and smooth. And if it's starting to feel like it needs a wash, you can get an extra couple of days out of it because it kind of coats the hair and you can work your fingers through it a little bit. So that's a good option as well. Can you compare? Right, sorry, espresso brown and truffle brown. So this here is the espresso brown. And I'll put them side by side and then I'll put them both on me. And the one that I started with today is truffle brown. So it's crazy because for some reason in this lighting, they look very similar. They really do. But I can assure you that espresso brown is darker than the truffle brown, and it's also ashier. So if you are someone who has naturally ashy hair, as I do, my hair is dyed right now, but I do have ashy hair. Truffle brown is beautiful, and I would call it like a neutral. I wouldn't say that it's very warm, but it is neutral to warm, whereas the espresso would be neutral to ashy. So it's sort of the answer for the girls who do want an ashy medium to dark brown. So I'll pop on espresso. This is truffle brown, Upgrade Aura. And she's got this sort of like skin top finish. So it's very similar to the silk top. It's just a different material. It's going to look like realistic scalp from the top, which is fantastic, especially if you're short like I am, because people are always looking down on you. So then it looks like illusion of real scalp. And you can part anywhere in this area and it'll have the illusion of scalp. I'll just show you here if I part on the side, still looks like natural scalp. The only thing about Upgrade Aura is that you do need to blend her with your bio hair or put bangs in, because I do not have a thick enough hairline. I'm just going to put her to the front now, but you'll see that she looks a little bit harsh there. And there's a bit of a line. So that's where blending her in, if you're able to do so, is ideal. But she's definitely a good option if you don't want to invest in the more expensive silk top, is to get the skin top. So this is that espresso brown color. I really like this length too, which I should have checked actually. This is a new one to me, but I think I feel like it's a 10-inch, but it's really cute. Okay, so, but yeah, if you wanted to do bangs, I often get asked on these lives about whether or not you can do bangs. You certainly can. And you can see there's so much here without it being overly bulky with Upgrade Aura, that to hide and conceal that little ridge, if you were to cut bangs into her, there's ample hair to do that. And then it would be completely natural looking. And when people look down, they would see the natural scalp. My own hair is a little bit too long, so I'll just do that. Okay, so this is the espresso. And now I'll show you the truffle, which is a little bit lighter. Here we go. And that's the truffle. I think you can tell when I'm wearing them, maybe not when I was holding them up, but now I feel like this does look quite a bit lighter. In part, you can tell because my own dyed hair is too dark for the truffle now, but it looked okay with the espresso. Okay, we've got some more questions, and then we'll talk maybe a little bit more about sun protection and things that we can do. Okay, oiling, compare the colors. Please let me know, by the way, Katie, if that was, sorry, this is moving around on me, if that was sufficient for you, like if you feel like you got a good sense of the colors there. Hi, Angry Wolverine. Thanks for being here. Wigs. I will show wigs. Absolutely. We'll get into that right away. I have a widening part line, but I can't handle wig or full topper. Is there anything that you can recommend? So do you mean you can't handle it in terms of comfort, Judy? I'll show you some smaller toppers if you'd like to see those. That might be the answer. My daughter has one. She's 30. Maybe I should tell her to watch your channel. Yeah, that would be great. It's nice to have a little bit of community on here. And what about using Botist for thinning on top? Oh, Botiste? Do you mean, is that the spray-in? Is that what I'm not sure. I would never know these are wig. They look really, I don't think this looks very wiggy if I'm being honest, but it's to each their own. I think these look really darn good. And they are what definitely helped me to come to terms with my hair loss. So I am very, very pleased to be showing them. Okay, I think I said I was going to get into wigs, right? No, first I'm going to show the smaller options if you feel like a full wig or full topper is too much, and then I'll get into showing some of the wigs. So this one here is Upgrade Claire. She's a lot smaller than the ones that I had previously shown. So Breeze, I think, was an 8.5 by 9. This one, if I'm not mistaken, it'll show up on the screen in a minute. I think it's about a 6.5 by a 5.5 or something like that. This is in the color Moose Brown. So it's like a medium warm brown with sort of caramel highlighting all the way through. So this one is pretty lightweight if you feel like you can't handle a full topper. Actually, I'm going to tighten this just a little bit more. Although I do feel like a lot of the new Uniwigs releases, so that their releases, like their closed lace, they're all very lightweight, even when you go for the bigger cap. So I don't know if you've tried toppers before, what you tried, like if it was a silk top or something like that. Those can definitely feel a lot heavier for some ladies, but these types of pieces, I do feel like they're quite manageable for most. Spray and color. Right, so I actually have the L'Oreal one here right now. I have it in 2 different colors. I used to use those a lot, but I do find that they make my hair sort of tacky and knotted, and they do transfer. So if you get it too close to your hairline, it can kind of tint your skin a little bit, rub off. So I don't use them often anymore. I prefer to use toppers, and if I need something to do blending, then Uniwigs also sells the building fibers, which can be helpful. So this right here is the Upgrade Claire. Sorry, I'm just checking for another piece that I wanted to show as well. On these lives, I start throwing wigs around like crazy, and then I can't find them. Yes, this is the other one I wanted to show. This is the Courtney, the Upgrade Courtney, and they just had that on the screen a second ago. It's a monofilament top to a lace front, and it's a little bit bigger. This one is the smaller version of that, the Upgrade Claire. So sorry, it's a 6 by 6. I said 6.5 by 5.5. I was definitely wrong. 6 by 6. So it's about, like, to me, almost as small as you can get while still getting pretty decent coverage. Now, if you just have a widening part, I do have one more option for you. And I'll show that to you in 1 second. It's even smaller than this one, but it's a different construction and a different amount of coverage. So this one I think is really nice. I don't think it looks wiggy at all. Very lightweight. I feel like I can do almost anything in it, right? Because it covers, but it's not so much hair that you've got like a really thick ponytail at the end of it. So this is Upgrade Claire in Moose Brown. So that's an option. And if you want to go even smaller, because the only concern is a widening part, then there is Vixora, who is super popular. Every time I bring her out, somebody tells me that they have her and that they love her. And I understand why. So she's like a 3 by 4 and only 12 inches, I believe. So she's super tiny. She has this lace area, 3 clips, some built-in layers. Now she's not going to work great for me because I have very little biological hair, but for someone who just needs a little bit of coverage, let's say on the part line, then she's a really good option because she's just going to give you coverage where you need it. And this is a great option if you are okay with getting it exposed to sun to protect your own scalp from getting sunburned. I called her Vixora. It's Valora. I thought I was going to be, I felt refreshed when I woke up this morning, but I think I'm losing my mind right now. There we go. So you can see she gives coverage where we tend to have the most thinning. Now you will need her to blend with your biological hair, so it's going to be important that she matches in terms of color in order to wear her, but really, really great option. So I wore it right to the front hairline, which you could do, you know, if you just wanted to have a little bit of coverage. And because the cap is small, so this is the thing, especially for the summertime, we want to wear the hair up off our neck probably. I tend to wear my toppers down all year long. I don't do a lot of updos. But if you are someone who wants to do an updo, the larger the cap, the more challenging it is to do an updo. So if I have a large cap that goes down to here, then I really only can do like a low thing. But if I have a smaller topper, then it's more possible for me to go with a higher updo because it's just this area. Now, obviously that doesn't work for me because of all this thinning, but if you have enough hair, you can pull it off. Or you can wear this a little bit further back. If you have a strong enough front hairline and it's just like a widening part further back, then you could use this. This is kind of how I think the celebrities use topper pieces like this, right? Is they use it to get a little bit extra volume wherever it is that they're trying to have lift for their ponytails or their updos. What size is it? It is a 3x4. So everything that I showed tonight, I don't know if you see it on your screen, but there should be a little link on the bottom where it tells you what I'm wearing. And then it has a price minus the 15%. And it should be a clickable link. So then you know. And if you just want to keep a pen and paper handy, you could also do that. So you know which pieces you want to go back and take a look at afterwards. It is beautiful. It's Velora. Sorry, I'm not being very clear at all. So thanks for having me clarify. Yeah, so the question about Bautiste, I think, so my answer to that is if it is the same, if I'm correct in thinking it's this type of product, it's just not something that I would personally use anymore. I think your question was, can you use it? Right? Do you mean like on the actual hair for the topper, or do you mean on your biological hair to blend? Maybe if you could just actually clarify that for me, and then I can probably give a more detailed answer. I'm sorry if I missed the full question. Oh, what about using it on the thinning on the top? Yeah, so if you want to use something like this instead of a hair topper, you can. But I also feel like things like this might clog pores over time. So as I said earlier, it transfers. So if you touch your hair, you get it on your fingers. I don't even want to spray it right now because that's going to happen. So it's just not my personal favorite thing to use. If I was going to do coverage that I needed, like let's say to do some coverage, then I would use the fibers on the side of my head as an example, instead of the sprays, I think. Yes, I also have a sensitive head. The halo wires help a lot with that actually, which is great. Toppers with bangs. Okay, so yeah, the toppers don't typically come with bangs, but you can cut bangs into almost any topper. The thing to just check before making a purchase is how much hair is actually on the topper before making that decision. Because if you were to take something like, let's say this one, which is that Upgrade Clear, and you wanted to cut bangs into it, you're kind of limited because all we have to work with is this area. And if we want to take bangs, then we're going to be pulling from here. That's about all we got to work with, right? Maybe a little bit more. So I'm going to be pulling away from the coverage over the rest of the cap, and the bangs are going to be pretty sparse. So you can do it with a lace piece and a smaller cap, but you are going to be more limited. Whereas if I were to pick something, like if I knew for sure that I was cutting bangs into my topper, I probably wouldn't pick a lace top. Breathability doesn't matter to me all that much, but having a realistic looking scalp I think is awesome. So I would probably pick something like Upgrade Aura, which has lots and lots of hair at the front to be able to cut a bang in. And then I would just take it to my stylist and have them cut bangs in. So that's what I would do. I would pick either the skin top like this one or a silk top like this one, which also has a ton of coverage. This is a 9x9 cap. It's called Savannah. So we've got large parting area here. It's silk top, so it's going to look like a realistic scalp. Tons of coverage, stretchy wefts, and an ample space to cut a bang in, because the way that silk tops are constructed, they actually have hairs that fall forward naturally anyways. So I tend to curl them away from my face. But if I was able to cut bangs in, then I would just do that. So she needs a bit of a style, but you can see here the way that a silk top is constructed. There's hair at the front there that would be so perfect to cut into a bang because you have really like all of this to play with. And I'm still not even pulling from the volume on the sides or the back. So no problem. Cut bangs in, cut a thick bang if you want. Lots and lots of room. So if you're gonna do bangs for sure, I would do Savannah or Upgrade Aura. This is the higher end version. The silk is a little bit more flexible, a little bit more bendy, but both will work for bangs exceedingly well. All the other toppers will work, but those would be my two recommendations. I'm experiencing a lot of hair loss on my crown area. Any suggestions that would be good coverage? So all of these I think are good for that. The question is like, how much do you want to blend your own biological hair into the topper? So if you are okay with blending your biological hair in, you can get a small topper like Valora. And where did she go? There she is. So you get like an itty bitty one like this, and then just wear it further back, right? And cover that area. And then sort of fluff up your own hair over it. And that would be totally fine. But as you can see here with Valora, it's a different color from what I'm wearing currently. So it becomes pretty obvious if this isn't a good match. So if you want to just ensure that it's all kind of disguised, then getting a larger topper does give you more coverage overall and kind of hides your biological hair. But if you do have a lot of hair, then getting a topper that's a large cap and a lot of density is probably going to feel overwhelming. So then you do want to go for one of the lace options, either the closed lace or the Swiss lace, something like that. Do you know if I can find curly hair toppers? Okay, so if you have curly hair, and I'm so glad you asked this, and your hairline. Okay, I'll go back to that one actually, and then we'll talk about curly because I actually have a curly one to show you. So yeah, if you're like me and you have a weak front hairline and you have a weak part line, which I have both, you're a little bit more limited, right? I can wear something that I need to blend, set it a little bit further back, add some hair fibers and make it work. But that's just not for me. I want to be able to get out the door really quickly in the morning, and I want it to be as low maintenance as possible. So that's where either doing the closed lace or a lace front piece is just, I think, the best option. I'm going to show you. Let's take a look at, I want to show something that I haven't shown yet, maybe. How about, did I show the closed lace Courtney? I don't think I actually put her on. Let's put her on because she's very popular. So she's similar to the Upgrade Claire, but she has a larger base. So this is Upgrade Courtney in Moose Brown. I've curled the front pieces, so, but not the rest of her. So she'll have kind of like a wispy curtain bang to start. So she's got lace here and there's monofilament material here. This strip in the middle is just to bind the two materials together. It's totally normal. And what's really good is that Uniwigs actually set it pretty far back. So a lot of companies, when they're binding a monofilament and a lace, they tend to do this a little bit further to the front, and then you see it near that hairline, but they put it further back. So this is a great option for you. Like if you don't feel like blending that front hairline into a topper, you just want to be able to throw something on and go, then getting any of these options that have the lace at the front and then the halo wire are going to be really good for you. So no clips on right now. And look, it doesn't move. That's the power of that halo wire. So I'll set it in place. So you can see the PU strip is all the way back there now. I still haven't put on the clips. I'm just adjusting that halo wire a little bit better. And now I'll put the clips in. So it takes a lot of pressure. So we were talking earlier about sensitive scalp. I have a super sensitive scalp. I have sensitive skin. It takes so much pressure off of those clips. Although the clips that Uniwigs uses are gentle clips. I can confirm because I've seen clips that are not gentle and they can be really uncomfortable. But theirs are the soft close kind. I don't know why this one wants to, okay. We're just gonna let him go over because that's what he wants to do right now. If you have a difficult part line like that, this is because it was hanging on a rack upside down. You just spray a little bit of water and you can kind of train it to go the way that you want. So something like this would be a good option. This is the Upgrade Courtney with the lace front. You can see that lace is staying down without anything on there, no glue, just the halo wire. So I don't need to blend. I don't need to do anything. I can just put it on and go. If you feel like the lace isn't a perfect blend, you can cut the lace a little bit shorter with some pinking shears, but I don't feel like that's even required in this case. So this is the Upgrade Courtney with the lace front, 7x8 in the color Moose Brown. Yeah, it does look really good, doesn't it? So, I mean, it's because I thought about curling it, but I left it because my plan was to wear this one like this, you know, have it sort of like in a low ponytail or low bun. And then I just wanted to have some face framing pieces around, which is why I left those curled. Yeah, it looks really, yes, I agree. I actually thought about doing a test run with this one. I'm going to straighten these a little bit because they're just maybe too aggressive for that look, but I play pickleball and I always wear a ball cap to play because, you know, trying to conceal the hair loss. And when I started playing around with the Upgrade Courtney, and the Upgrade Claire, that's when I realized I could probably get away with playing in something like this because I could do the ponytail or the bun. And I think it's pretty invisible. It's lightweight. It doesn't feel too heavy. Now, obviously, if you're doing sport or something like that in it, you're probably not going to wear it to work the next day. So having sister toppers is kind of nice. So you can have one that's, you know, for play and one for professional self or something like that. You're going to order that one in a shade darker. Yeah, so probably the truffle brown for you then. Is that what you're thinking? Genuine cuisine. I'd love to know what you end up getting. And I would love to know also if you would let me know, reach out to me how it works for you, how you like it when you get it. I'm always so happy to hear those stories because it's really exciting and it's nice to share with other people. I know sometimes in our own spaces and our own worlds, people don't really get excited about alternative hair the way we do. So it's nice to share wins with other people. This one is Moose Brown. So it's like a medium neutral to warm brown and at sort of like the base color. And then the highlights are like a caramel kind of color. Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to summertime, so I just talked about exercising in a topper. That's kind of like one thing that you can do. I'm sorry, my stand is moving around here. That's one thing that you can do is get a lightweight topper and then do a ponytail. I had a ponytail holder handy earlier. I don't know where it went. And just, well, I have a claw clip here. I don't know how this is going to look because I'm not used to having hair or enough hair to go into a claw clip, but so you can just kind of get it up this way and then it doesn't feel too hot. Because I feel like for a lot of us, like when we feel hot in hair, I don't think it's so much up here. I think a lot of it comes from down here. So if we just get it up off the neck, that's half the battle. The color I was wearing looks like a perfect match, the Moose Brown. Yeah, so actually on that, if you're looking for a color and you're nervous that it's not going to be a perfect match, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. One, if you're going for a large base topper, the color doesn't have to be a perfect match because there's enough hair with the topper to disguise it and hide your biological hair. Two, dimension helps to hide color discrepancies. So this color, actually I'll put on dusty ash brown or ash brown in a second because it's a nice summer color, but you know, I have quite dark hair underneath here. It doesn't really show, but it shows even less in a larger base topper, like the Savannah that I had on because she's so large, which is why this one was my everyday wig for school for a while. I'm a high school teacher and I wore this one for quite a long time. So she's really faded out now. This is the same color that I just had on. So if you are like, what, how is that possible? It's because I wore her. So she was heat styled multiple times. She's been washed, right? So those types of things will take a bit of a toll on the color. So that's just love is what that is. It's all that time wearing her, but I'll just show you quickly how beautiful she can be when we give her a little refresh of a curl. She does need to be washed as well. I'm trying to find my brush. But then I'll turn around and show you how she covers up my biological hair. You know what I didn't talk about? Curly hair. We had a question about curly hair, and I said I was going to get to it, and I didn't. So I'm going to get to that in just a second, I promise. So yes, if I style her up, you can see she would be, I'll do one more on this side so you can get a sense of how pretty she is. But great coverage, so you don't need to worry if your biological hair is not a perfect match, because you're not going to see it anyways. For a while, I had this gray strip in my hair near the front, and you couldn't see it because large base topper. So, right? If I turn around, you probably can't see a lot of my biological hair poking through. So going for a large base will definitely help to conceal any color discrepancy, but the other thing is to get something that has dimension. So if I'm looking to wear a smaller base topper, it doesn't have a ton of coverage and the color is not an exact match, you're going to see that. But if it's a color like Moose Brown that has that dimension, it tricks the eye into thinking it's all blended together and it's fine. Now you can go darker with your toppers, but you can't, or wigs, but you can't go lighter. So if you do want to do a color match and take it to your stylist, just make sure that you're buying a lighter color and you're asking them to go up in darkness rather than going and lightening it. You can't do that because most of these pieces, so let's say I do show you that dusty ash brown. So if I show you dusty ash, this is the original Courtney. She doesn't have a lace front, so she's not going to look quite the same as the last one. So a color like this started off darker. It would have started off as like a dark brown hair probably, and then got bleached, and then color was added to it to give you the finish that you see here. So you can't further lighten this because it's already had color work done. But I can make it darker. So if I wanted to add low lights or something like that to better match my biological hair, then I could do that. Oops, I need my brush ready. So just give her a quick smoothing. She could use a little bit more, but you get a sense of the color. So you can see here, my own hair is pretty dark compared to this topper, but it doesn't look terrible just because she already has so much dimension in her. It kind of fools the eye. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. Hi, thank you so much, Patty. That's really sweet of you. It's the hair. It's definitely the hair. So best for summer, yeah, Moose Brown is the one that I was wearing previously, and then this one is the Dusty Ash Brown. The best one for summer, honestly, is whichever one is going to allow you to do things that you want to do. So if having a smaller topper, like I would normally say, go for a small topper, go for a lace top topper, that's going to be the coolest thing to wear. But if it limits you in terms of, you know, you can't blend your own bio hair in, or you feel like, you know, it's not actually giving you the volume or the density that you want, then that's not going to work for you. I don't know how many of the ladies who are watching right now have actually worn wigs and toppers. I know that there's a lot of concern when you first start wearing them about like, how hot is it going to be? You know, is it going to be unbearable? Am I going to be sweating under my topper? And the reality is, like, many of us are in air conditioned spaces a lot of the time. So it's not as noticeable. But even sitting outside on a patio in the summertime, I've never felt in a human hair topper or wig, oh my goodness, this is so unbearable. I need to rip this thing off. Like, it's never, I might be hot, but I don't feel like I'm infinitely hotter because of the alternative hair. If anything, I like that my scalp is protected. Sometimes when if we're sweating, and ladies who have thin hair know this, it can make, like, if you do get sweat or humidity or anything hits your hair after it's been perfectly styled and you have thin hair, that can be a bit of a disaster, right? It can ruin your style. It can make your hair look more thin. It can show your scalp more readily. So having a topper on actually is a thing that has given me more confidence and assurance in the summertime rather than be a concern about heat. I know that sounds weird, but that's kind of been my personal experience. I was asked about curly pieces. So I actually have curly biological hair. I straightened it before this live because I knew I would be trying on a lot of toppers, and a lot of them I've got kind of styled in a straight style. But if you get any of the Burmese pieces, they will dry. This one's a little damp. I spritzed some water in it before starting and then just let it air dry to see how it would do. So this is the Burmese texture, air dried state. Now I haven't done any real work to this. I really just took a spray bottle of water, spritzed it, kind of finger combed it, and then just had it here on this rack drying. And you can see already the curl that's in there. And this is not permed. So if you have worn alternative hair before, or maybe you haven't and you have curly hair, I made the mistake of buying a permed topper from another company when I first bought my first topper. So I bought a topper in a straight style, and then I bought the same color in a curly style. But that curly style was permed. It fell out so quickly, and the hair is already processed, as I told you, right? Especially if you're doing like a light to medium brown, it's already gone from dark brown and then been lightened, and then the color's been applied, and then they perm it. And so then that curl falls out and you can't re-perm a second time. Like the hair is going to be fried. If you get a naturally curly piece though, you don't have to worry about it. And that's where getting the Burmese texture, if you do have curly hair, is a fantastic option. Can I straighten this? Yes, I definitely can. The one that I started with tonight, Truffle Brown, Closed Lace Airy Elegance, was Burmese hair straightened. But if you want the texture, that's the texture to get, is the Burmese. If you want a sleek one, go for the Euro or the Chinese Remy Human hair. It's going to be easier to keep straight styles with those. If you want one of each, if you're able to do it, that's like the best. So I told you initially I purchased a style that was straight and a style that was curly. For me, as someone who has curly hair, that was like the perfect thing to do, because I could leave my bio hair curly and just pop on my topper, or I could straighten my hair and put on the straight topper. And I felt like I had options that way. So you could always do like a topper with the Burmese, leave it in an air dried wavy texture, and then have another topper that matches and leave it sleek and straight. Do something like the Chinese or the Euro and then have it straightened. Now, it's going to vary. So that's the only thing. It's when you get a perm topper, those perm toppers, they are curled with the little, whatever they use, curling ones or the curlers to set that style. This is less predictable because it's naturally curly hair. So it could turn out to be super curly like this, but it could turn out to be just wavy. Well, this isn't super curly, but my curly haired girls know that this could become super curly, right? Like if I put this on and I did curl cream and I did a diffuser, then I could get a ton of curl from this. So it's a great option, especially in the summertime. So if we're talking about being uncomfortable, we're talking about being hot in the summertime and wearing toppers, that's a great option too, is to buy something with a natural texture so that you don't have to blow dry your hair to match the topper's texture. Because if you do have a straight topper or you've straightened your topper, as I always did with mine, then every morning I was washing my hair, drying my hair, curling my hair, and then putting on my topper. And that is a big production. One. Two, if it's warm out, you got to crank the AC because you're dripping with sweat by the time you're done styling your own hair, or you just get one that has natural texture, let your hair air dry, and then put it on before you're at the door. And it's going to be a lot more of a match. So that is a good option for summertime in particular, is to get Burmese and then let it air dry. Yes, so that is natural hair, what I just showed you. No perming. That's just how. And so the beauty of it, I told you that the perms, like they'll fall out over time, right? But this never will. Like you just can spritz water on it, give it a little shake, hang it up, scrunch it, do whatever you're going to do. And that curl's going to keep coming back time after time. So you're going to have that beach wave without any effort, without heat styling, without doing anything, which is amazing. And so if you're someone who has straight hair and summer's here and you're like, I wish that I had some texture to my hair because I'm going to the beach or whatever it is, then you can just do that, right? You could just buy the Burmese texture, spray some water, and then kind of like fake get crunch into your hair, get wave texture into your own hair. But it doesn't matter if your own hair underneath doesn't have a ton of texture because the topper on top will. They do have synthetic toppers. I don't have any here, unfortunately, right now, but if you check out their website, they have synthetic toppers and synthetic wigs, which are such a great option if you're going to be in the sun or in a pool. How can I order? Wigs.com, whichever style you want. You can put it in the search bar. There are lots of options. You can ask us on here. They're putting direct links on for the different products that I'm showing, and you can click those. And then Ashley 15 will save you 15% out checkout. I think you actually have to go to the checkout page and create an account. And then to do your checkout, you just put in the code and you'll save 15%. So that's how you order. Never had a topper. I need one for sure. Being a newbie, should I go human hair or synthetic? That is a really great question. And it really depends on the person. I have talked to ladies who absolutely, by the way, if anyone here wants to see wigs, please let me know, because I do have wigs here as well, and I'm happy to show those. Yeah, so I do have a lot of ladies who have who have told me that they started with synthetic and then they moved into human hair, but synthetic is kind of their preference. And that can be for a whole bunch of reasons why someone might prefer synthetic. And then I have other ladies like me who preferred human hair to start. And then once they got comfortable with human hair, they moved into synthetic. So if we're talking about summer heat, I do feel like synthetic is warmer to wear. So human hair is going to feel a lot cooler on your head. So if that's concerning, like if you feel like you run hot or you're worried about the temperature in the summertime, I think going for human hair is the best bet. But if that's not the concern, then I think it really comes down to personal preference. Synthetics are in some ways lower maintenance because they don't need to be styled, but over time, as the fibers start to wear, you still have to maintain those fibers to get them looking their best. Whereas human hair, is pretty simple to style because we're accustomed to doing it typically for our own hair anyways, just as I'm doing now. So I personally do really love human hair, and I feel like my synthetics are more just for fun, for those days, as I talked about before, by the pool or a time when I can't easily wear human hair. So there's no right answer, but if we're talking about heat, the human hair is probably the way to go. Okay, let's take a look. I just burned myself with that flat iron. I think I actually am caught up on the questions, am I? I am. Do they have any European hair toppers? They do, Bambi. Hi, Richard. You buy the topper first, and afterwards you dye your hair. Good question. It's almost too real. I know, they're really good. Hello from Chile. Okay, so yes, I would buy the topper first, and then dye my bio hair after if I wanted to make a perfect match. Because then you can take the topper to your stylist and say, I'd like to dye my hair to match. But if that doesn't work, you can get the topper and then dye it darker to match your hair as well. Will Savannah feel hot? I mean, if the silk is not as breathable as lace, but I wore silk choppers in the summer and I still love them. So I really think it comes down to personal preference. I think at the end of the day, you're going to feel, if you're new, you're going to feel any topper is going to feel like something on your head because it is something on your head. And then once you get used to that, whether you go for a lace or you go for silk, all of a sudden it starts to matter less because you're accustomed to the feeling of something being on your head. So I think that that's the biggest adjustment. It's kind of like wearing a hat. Do you know, like you're wearing a hat. Are there some hats that are more comfortable than other hats? Yes. And so all of the Uniwigs toppers are constructed though in a way that I feel like they are kind of optimized for comfort. Like they don't put too much density in a small area where like it's going to be tugging and pulling at the sensitive areas of your scalp. Like there's a lot of thought that goes into the production of their toppers and their cap designs. And I'm not just saying that, like I've worn toppers for many years. So I think that you're good with pretty much whichever one you want to get. But if you're worried about running hot, go for a lace option. But is Savannah overly warm? No, but she's a 9x9. So there's a lot of coverage happening. Like she's going to sit all the way down here on my head. Which means, there's not a ton of breathing room up there. Is it worth it though? For me, yes. I would rather have the coverage than feel super cool. Will human hair toppers frizz up in humidity and if rain? Yes. Yes, they will act exactly like human hair. So that's where if you get the Burmese texture, the one I just showed you, the curly one, I mean, it probably won't look like this, but if I were to get caught in the rain, I had it straight like this, and then I got caught in the rain, eventually would look like this. So you will have to be a little bit more careful when it comes to your styling. That said, I haven't felt like humidity affects, I have curly bio hair, and I've never felt like humidity affects toppers the way it affects my bio hair, if that makes sense. Maybe it's because of the processing. Maybe it's because they're not quite as curly naturally as my own curly hair. So if I were to go down to Mexico, poof, instantly my own biological hair is going to turn curly, but the toppers and wigs a little bit less so. So you don't have to worry too much. How often will you wash your natural hair topper? That is such a great question. I go a really long time without washing my pieces. Some women will recommend, and some companies will recommend, 7 to 10 wears or something like that. I think it's when it absolutely needs to be washed. That's when I'm going to wash it. So I try to stay out of areas with smoke or smelly fajitas and things like that. Like if I know that I'm going to be in that environment, I'm going to wear something that needs a wash soon anyway. I'm not going to wear something that was freshly washed because I'm going to try to maximize the time between washing. Because every time I wash, I'm stripping it of some color, right? As we do every time we wash our biological hair, if we've got it dyed. And I'm also going to be applying heat probably to style it. And so that's going to do further damage to the hair and to the color. So I really try to stretch it. I could go with daily wear, I could go like 4-6 weeks or longer sometimes. That sounds insane, but I have rules for myself. They're harder to follow in the summertime if you're out in the heat. So rule number 1, I only wear my topper on top and my wigs on top of clean hair. So that means I wash my hair every morning before work. So if I do my workouts in the morning so that I can shower after them and then have clean hair and then put on my wig or topper. So that's number 1, because my thinking is the dirtier my hair is, then the dirtier the topper is going to get. It's going to start to smell, right? Number 2, I do not touch my hair. I mean, I'm touching it a lot tonight because I'm doing this, but I don't touch my hair without clean hands. So I'm not going to be throughout the day. I try to not do a lot of this. I try not to do a lot of this. Like I try to just whatever, and then not touch my hair unless my hands have just been washed, because every time you touch it, you're putting like little germs and dirt and oils and stuff like that into the hair. It's going to need to be washed more frequently. So I'm really picky about that, especially because I work in a school. It's a high school, but still, I know there's germs floating around. So I really try not to touch my hair too often because I know then I'm going to be walking around with all those germs on my head. It feels kind of gross. And then rule number 3 is as soon as I get home, it comes off and goes away. So then I'm only wearing it for the time that I must wear it. And then when I store it, I try to store it in a place that's dry and dark and clean. You don't want to be hanging it in like a really dusty closet or something like that, because then it's going to accumulate dirt. But you can wash it more often if you want. It's just my personal preference. Okay, I feel like there was a question that I missed. And if it was yours, there was something about Euro hair. Oh yes, do they have European toppers? So I can show you the European wigs. And then, the toppers would be very, very similar. So we're gonna say goodbye to this one. This is Dusty Ash Brown. And I'm gonna put on, what would you like to see? I have 3 of their Eurotexture wigs. So I have the Duchess in an 8-inch, a 10-inch, and a 14-inch. So if there's one in particular that you'd like to see, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to put on, I have an elastic and it's on my wrist. There we go. I'll put on the 14 to start because I really like it. So you'll see that I'm changing how I'm going to put this on, right? So for the toppers, I just pop them on my head. But for the wig, I prep my hair by putting it in a low bun at the base of my neck. And then I take a wig grip and I put it under that for extra grippiness. And then I pull out these little side pieces, which even when my hair is curly, so I get out of the shower, let my hair air dry as I'm putting on my makeup and getting ready in the morning, I always flat iron these pieces because I like to blend them into my wigs. And so this is the medium brown color from the Eurotexture. So this is virgin hair. So it just has a natural dimension, but not from coloring, which is really pretty, because if you are in the sun, we're talking about summertime and beach, it's just going to fade naturally, which I love. And the real way that you know that this is natural is, I don't know if you can see this, but if you look, you'll see just the odd gray hair sometimes. And that's because sometimes we have natural grays woven into our hair, even if our hair hasn't turned gray. And that's how you know it hasn't been dyed, which is kind of cool. You're going to love this one. It looks so good. I mean, I think it looks so good. So we never move our wig up here. We never want to grab from that lace. We just want to adjust with the ear tabs. So something like that. My wig grip is showing through a bit here. I guess I could set this a little bit further forward. Now you're going to see this is lifting on the side, but that's because I'm using this as a sample. So if this was my actual wig to go wear out, like I leave it longer so I can show you that, you know, ladies would glue this down if they didn't have any sideburns. And then they would get kind of like a natural looking hairline. But if I was to actually keep it and wear it, I would cut into this so that I could actually blend my biological hair through. So this is the 14-inch from the Duchess collection, Euro texture in medium brown. It's so pretty. I love that it comes with pre-cut layers, just varying kinds. Like it just, I don't know, it just adds to the whole look, the texture. I feel like this one just says summer. I mean, you could wear it any time of the year, obviously, but I just feel like with this cut, it really makes me think of summer. So that is an example of the Euro texture. And so they also have these in toppers. Yes, this look is absolutely beautiful. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you, Gabby, by the way, for the kind words. What is the best way to store this? The name of this one is the Duchess, and it's a 14-inch medium brown wig. There you go. You can see it below. So that's the 8-inch. In the link below, this one is the 14. So you can get it in a variety of colors and a variety of lengths, which is great. I love the cap construction on this, by the way. I'm a 21.25-inch circumference round, 11 ear to ear, 12 front to back. So I measure small, and I have very little bio hair, right, to take up the bulk of the cap. And I'll just show you. There's not a lot for me to grip. So usually I have tons of excess here. Now this is stretchy. So if you're like, oh, I have more hair than you, you'll still be fine. But it's nice for those of us who have smaller heads to have something that's not popping up all over. Like there's definitely some extra room here, which is, I usually have a lot more than that, but it fits me pretty well. I do wear a wig grip, so that helps with the grippiness. But yeah, you can get it in your choice of color and your choice of, trying to find them, your choice of color and your choice of length. So I'll show you, I have 3 different colors here. So this one is an 8-inch medium sort of brown color. It's called Veil Latte brown. So it's like a medium brown with highlighting throughout. So that's a really, really pretty color if you like dimension in your wigs. And then this one is the sand blonde color. It's also really pretty, obviously very different, really pretty. If my natural hair is 14 inches, do I need to go longer to cover, or would the 14-inch topper work? I will say, I don't have my measuring tape with me. The rule of thumb is supposed to be that you go an inch or 2 longer than the length of your bio hair. Because what you wouldn't want to have happen is have your own bio hair sticking out below the length of the topper for a couple of reasons. 1, if the color isn't a great match, it's going to be a dead giveaway. 2, if the texture is different, it's going to be a dead giveaway. And 3, because you'll probably have less hair of your own than topper. It kind of like pokes through as thin little pieces. I know because I recently had that before cutting my own hair. So you really do want to go like an inch or 2 shorter with your bio hair. Could you do the 14-inch? Possibly, because Uniwigs is pretty generous with their length. Like they're not a company where it's like 14 inches and then it's 14 inches from the, well, I wish I could measure this to show you, but they're generally pretty generous with their topper lengths. However, it would be awful if you got it and then you had to cut your bio hair and you didn't want to do that. So if I had 14-inch hair from there down, I would just go with a 16. I can show you what a 16 looks like, by the way, if you want. Love my dogs. If you want me to show you when I'm done with the wigs, what a 16-inch topper looks like on me, I'm 5 foot, just under 5'3", then that might help you to get an idea of how it would look on you in terms of length. Of course, you're going to still want to measure. Can you change the short brown one? Yes, I can. Absolutely. And why not? Because this is supposed to be all about summertime stuff. And I mean, this is a good length for summer, but the 8 inches, obviously, even better. Okay, so I don't suit short hair very well. I'm gonna open with that. But I will say this is a really cute style. When I put it on at first, I thought I was going to really dislike it. And I actually ended up really, really liking it, despite the fact that I don't like how I look in short hair, because it's kind of like a fun, edgy cut that they gave it. I just want to make sure that I have everything kind of pulled away from the lace there. So this is that 8-inch. My flat iron turned off, but I'd like to just curl those front pieces a little bit. Get them away from my face. If it heats up, I will. It's not heating. I didn't mean to do that. There's a fan on it. But you get a sense of it, right? The lace is showing there because, again, I left it long to show that you could glue it down if you wanted to. I don't want to. So I'll just tuck it underneath for now. But if it was my own wig, I would just cut it shorter. Cut right into that hairline. Now check out this is like longer in the front and then a party in the back. Cute, right? I mean, I don't wear short styles and I think it's cute. If I wore short hair, I would definitely wear a style like this just because I feel like there's still room to play with the longer layers in the front. Do they roll off? Like the wig, does the wig roll off? Experience is valuable. And the thing is, obviously, anytime that you have questions, like lean on the Uniwigs team, lean on women who wear wigs and toppers like me and who are helping to give education and stuff like that online. But part of it is also just doing it yourself. Even when you don't feel quite ready, just jumping in and playing around and trying it and being willing to be vulnerable, I think is kind of where the most learning happens. Like anything, right? You can do all the research in advance, but until you actually start wearing them for yourself and building up that confidence, that's really where the magic kind of happens. Yeah, this is a wig. Yeah. It looks shiny. Well, I mean, it is a brand new piece, so the hair is, looking pretty awesome right now. Yeah, they did a great job. It's healthy hair. So this is the Euro texture one. So that means that the only thing that's dyed is the highlights. The base is natural color, which is really great. So there's minimal processing here. So it's interesting that you're like, that's really shiny, because this is the one that is super, super natural, low processing on it. I do have a light in front of me though, so that's really causing a bit of a glare. Different hair textures, Burmese, Euro, and Chinese. Yes, absolutely, I will. Thank you, Gabby. You're really sweet. That's so kind. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome for the advice. I'm really happy to, I have to be honest, I get so nervous on these things. So whenever you ask questions and I get to answer them and try to give advice, it's my favorite thing. because it means I have some direction in terms of what I'm talking about. I'm going to compare all those textures now. What colors? Oh, so this is a latte veil latte brown or latte veil brown. That's so there's a few different colors. That's like I think when you're looking at them, that's sort of like the third one in or something like that, second or third one in. Latte veil brown latte veil. Yeah, latte veil brown, I think is what it's called. So it's brown with highlights. So let's do, because we're here, let's do the last one. I'll show you the sand blonde. So this is the 10-inch from that same Heritage collection. So it's also the Duchess, but it's in a 10-inch length. So we've seen the 14, we've seen the 8. Now we'll take a look at the 10. Whoop. I want this, but in a topper. Do you have something like this a little long? Yeah, so all of the Euro textured pieces are available in toppers as well. So you can totally do that. Maybe we can get the Uniwigs team in a second to put a link to that so that you can find the toppers from this collection. But yes, they are available for both the wigs and the hair toppers. So we've got a 10-inch wig on here. Oh, I just poked myself in the eye. So clearly not my color, but so fun, especially for summertime. And again, really shiny, feels really great. I like the sort of like straight bob cut on this one. Okay, are those two short natural hair? Yes, they are. Like the brown one. Yeah. My favorite is the first one, the medium brown. I love it. It's such a beautiful color. It's such a beautiful color. Okay, so looking at the differences between the textures, I guess the best way to do this would be to actually show you what happens when they air dry. That would probably be the best way. Because if I show you on camera now, it's going to be hard to see the difference. But so all three that I just showed, I'll pull them up again. These are all the Euro texture. So they're just styled differently, right? One's more wavy, one's completely straight. This one is straight with just a little bit of curl at the front. And it's sort of like a thinner denier overall. It does have a silky texture. That's sort of the texture of the Euro, right? It feels like a little bit fluffier, a little bit lighter, thinner denier, that type of thing. The Hermes is the one that I showed you earlier. She's still kind of drying. She's a little bit wet here, but she has, when she's in an air dried state, more texture. So she's a little bit coarser almost. Definitely still fluffy, beautiful to wear, a little bit more challenging to straighten. And then, but you can straighten her, just like my own hair, right? I have curly hair, but I can get it straight to an extent. There's still always going to be kind of like some parts that are harder to get the curl out of. And then this one, yes, this is Courtney in Dusty Ash Brown. This one here is the Chinese Remy human hair in a straightened state. So when this one air dries, it does have a little bit of a texture, but not like the Burmese, just a little bit. So hopefully that helps. Hi, Susan. If you have any questions at all, please drop them in the comments below. That's what we're all about doing here. I want this one, but in a topper. Okay, I like the brown one. Is this synthetic? No, these are all human hair. These are all human hair. So this is Chinese Remy human hair in sort of a straightened state. Chinese Remy human hair. And then this one was the Burmese human hair. So it's got more texture. But it can be straightened. And these ones were the Euro texture. So it's just kind of got like a different feeling than the Chinese human hair. It's just like a little bit thinner, a little bit lighter. Yeah. Does that help? I know it's a little bit difficult to tell through the screen. So if we are still talking about summertime, this is a color. I wore it earlier, but I didn't really talk about it. This is a really good sort of transition color for those who want to go a little bit lighter and have brown hair, or who have blonde hair and want to go a little bit darker at the end of the summer into the fall, because it has a lot of dimension in it. I don't know if the camera's picking it all up or not, but you can see that it has like a darker root and then lots of bright blondes, but also there, now you can really see the dimension, right? And so it's going to work for people who have naturally blonde hair or naturally brown hair. And then there's a softer version of it as well. This one here, the soft dusty ash brown. It's very similar, but it's the pieces are more blended. You don't have quite as much contrast in the colors. And then, of course, if you're interested in blondes, Wigs does have a bunch of different blondes. So I've got Courtney in a few different colors, including, I don't know if this color still exists. It's H10R. So if you're wanting like a rooted blonde, you could do something like this. It's a lot brighter, but fun for summer, especially if you have dark hair to start with. And what else have we got? Try to find another nice blonde for you. I don't have a coat on that one, so I can't tell you right now. I left it upstairs. Oh, this is actually the Dusty Ash in a different type of topper. This is the regular Swiss lace. So you can see the Dusty Ash on different pieces to get a sense of it. It's pretty consistent, which is kind of the nice thing too. If you want to do different cap constructions to suit your different needs, you can always get one color across those different caps, and then they can become interchangeable. No one will know that you're changing your hair up because it'll look the same. Okay, do we have any other questions? Anything that you want to see? Do you want to see more wigs? Do you want to see more toppers? What are we feeling? There is another light option, which I think is still available for sale. And every time I put it on, I get lots of compliments. So I'm going to put it on. I hope it's still available. The Uniwigs team will put it on the screen if it is. Silk Essence. Do we still have it? It's a really good one. So I actually didn't show that. What am I doing? Here's the cap, totally breathable. So the whole thing is like transparent, and you can part anywhere on this cap, which is what makes it so nice. So let me just do this. So if you're looking for breathability, this was another option that I probably should have shown you earlier. Now it does need to do some blending, or if you can't blend it because you don't have enough bio hair, then you could cut a bang into it and that would help. Or something that I have done before is just take a highlighter, not a highlighter, a marker, and then just put a little bit of brown on there. That would help to disguise it. But this one is really pretty. And it gives like a good amount of coverage without being too much. This is in the color Mist Brown as well. It's light, comfortable. Is it still being sold? I think it was for our last live. Really pretty, right? Aw, thank you so much for sharing that. I think you're gonna love getting into alternative hair. I wish that I had started sooner, and I started wearing them in my 30s. So I think you're gonna love it. The question is, how long is your biological hair right now? If you're not sure what length to get, I would definitely recommend So when it comes to getting your first piece, there are so many options, obviously, but I always recommend starting with something that is low density. Start with something that is in the same color family that you're accustomed to wearing, and that has the same cut and length, because it can get really exciting, especially when we're watching ladies online trying on different hairstyles, and it can be like, oh my gosh, I want to have that. I've always wanted to have long hair. I've always wanted to have blonde hair, and now I can have it instantly. And so that can be really exciting and enticing. But then when you put it on, it can also feel really overwhelming at the beginning. So and that's what happened to me. I didn't first buy from wigs. I bought synthetic hair, and I bought wigs that looked really good on the women who were showcasing them online. The women were 20 to 30 years older than me, had different shaped faces. They wore completely different colors. And so then when I made purchasing decisions for myself, they were all wrong. And I ended up not wearing them, and they sat in boxes for years before I had the courage to try again. And then I went into human hair toppers, and then eventually human hair wigs, and then back into synthetics. With a lot more confidence, because I was used to seeing myself in alternative hair. So if you want to avoid sort of like that overwhelm at the beginning, get something that is similar in terms of cut, color, style, density, so that it's just, you're like easing yourself into it. So that's what I would say. So I don't know how long your hair is right now, but I would do something very similar. That would be my number one piece of advice, the best piece of advice that I have. Let's take a look. Do you want to see another wig or two from Uniwigs? We have, where is she? I have a couple of wigs down here. So this is a iced beige blonde color called Celesta. And I think this one's a really fun one to show because she is in that summer color. Once again, I've put down my hair elastic. So if there's anything that you want to see, we'll go for a little bit longer as long as there are still questions, and there are still things that we want to talk about. So feel free to drop any questions that you have. If there's anything that you haven't seen that you do wish you could have seen, let me know. I have a lot of the topper cap constructions here, so I'm happy to show those to you. And I'm also happy to show you like anything in terms of tutorials, demoing, just answering questions about care. We did say we were going to talk all about like the beach and the sun and the ocean and all of these things. And then some people were here at the beginning and heard all of that, and some people weren't. So if you missed some of that and you have questions about that, please drop that in the comments as well. One of the things that I didn't talk about that I should have talked about earlier is if you do have to go into salt water, if you do have to go into a chlorinated pool, obviously, I don't recommend that you do that with your favorite wig, that you do that with an older piece or something that you are not as concerned about in terms of the wear and tear and the longevity. However, if you must, this looks really bright on me because it doesn't have a rooting, which brings me to the point about rooting earlier, right? If you have dark hair and you want to go lighter, just get a rooted piece. So something like Dusty Ash Brown has the rooting, and that's why it works so well. So if I have to go out into the water, then as soon as I get home, I'm going to rinse, or as soon as I'm done that activity, I should say, I'm going to go and rinse the hair. So that's something just to keep in mind is, you don't want to let these chemicals or environmental things sit in the hair for too long. Just make sure that you give them a rinse. Make sure that you, get that stuff out of there as quickly as you can. That would be like the number one piece of advice that I have, is just don't let it sit in this stuff. So you know how I said I blend my sideburns? That's kind of a habit. If you're wearing a wig that's a completely lighter color, you want to avoid doing that, obviously. And then you can always just cut in little side pieces into the side here. So I could just cut some baby hairs, and then it would look like little sideburns. I often just do these front pieces when I'm demonstrating so that you get a sense of what can be done with it, but I won't curl the whole thing right now on camera. So what do we think of the iced blonde? Is there anyone currently watching who has blonde hair or wears blonde wigs? Or are most of us brunettes or gray? What do we think of this one? It's pretty, right? I do like this color a lot. So we're going to go back to the various hair types, but does the Chinese hair take curl well, or is it best straight? That's a great question. Do you want to see it getting curled right now? Let's curl it together. I don't have a lot of the Chinese texture, but I do have one, and I showed it to you earlier. So I'm going to pop it back on, and I'm not going to throw my elastic away this time. I'm going to put it on my wrist so I don't lose it. So it was this one. No, not that one. It was this one. So it was the Courtney in the dusty ash brown. So she's straightened right now. Well, let's do a little curl test on her. So she's been washed and heat styled to be straight already. So if you want to get a curl into a piece, the best thing to do is to let it air dry and then curl it right away. If you straighten it first, as I have this one, adding a curl to it later is going to be a little bit harder, but I still think it's going to work okay. I do have Air Elegance actually, and it's an excellent first topper. I'll put it on after this for you so you can take a look at it. I'm still hoping to be able to have a ponytail sometime possible. Yeah, so they actually sell ponytail wigs, which are a great option for that. But you can also put these into a ponytail, which is so fantastic. And please don't apologize, Bambi, for going back to this. Like if I don't do a thorough job of answering your question, I want to know that so that you leave here feeling like you got your questions answered. That's why we're doing the live, because it's so hard to get answers to the questions that we have. So if I can do that for you right now, that's fantastic. Okay, we're gonna try this out. So remember, I've already straightened it previously, which is gonna make it harder to curl, but here you go. So you can definitely straighten the Chinese texture. Or sorry, not straighten, curl, or straighten, both. It does dry with a bit of a natural wave, but you can do whatever you want to do with it. And I do really like the way that it straightens. Like it's pretty sleek, right? Oh, my own hair underneath isn't so nice, but. So does that help answer the question? If you're looking to have hair, like Bambi, are you hoping to have something that you can straighten or add soft curls to, like styled curls? Because if yes, and you're curious about texture, this is a great texture for that. Like really great. I definitely recommend it. Do natural hair ones need special shampoo and conditioner, or do you use the same as yours? Such a good question. You guys have the best questions tonight. Yeah, so you want to use something that is paraben and sulfate free. Other than that, it doesn't really matter. Now, some ladies do like to recommend, salon quality products. It's never a bad thing to do. Personally, I have a sulfate free type of shampoo that I just really like. Paraben and sulfate free. I buy that and that's what I use. And then I also do use a high-end leave-in conditioner. You don't need to do that. I just happen to love the smell of it. So the one that I use is Amika. You can get it if you're in Canada like me, you can get it at Sephora or Amazon. And if you're in the US, you can do Ulta or Sephora or whatever. See, I'm having a harder time now getting that curl out though, once I've done it. So it's easy to straighten from a wavy or air dried state. But once you put a curl in, it's harder to take it out. So I use that as a leave-in conditioner and it's pretty high end, but I love the smell of it and a whole tub of it will last forever and ever and ever. So yeah. Oh, just one thing to note, when you are washing a wig or topper, it's fine to get shampoo everywhere. And in fact, I encourage you to do that. So if you're washing your topper, this is sitting on my scalp all the time. It's going to start to get kind of gross. Definitely take shampoo and like clean. I wash twice, by the way, for every wash. So I'll wash it, rinse it, wash it again. Clean the cap thoroughly. Be careful if it's actual lace. You want to be very gentle with the lace and with the monofilament. But clean it thoroughly, rinse it, clean it again. But don't use conditioner right on the cap. So conditioner can loosen the knots. If it's like a piece that's not wefted. So if any part that's like this, that has like a hand tied or whatever texture, the knots will come loose from conditioner being on them. So you want to just wash everywhere, but then when it comes to conditioner, just apply it from like sort of the mid shaft and then down to the end. I'm hoping to be able to have a ponytail. Yeah, we can definitely do that. And if you want to see Airy Elegance, I can put it on and we can try to do a topper ponytail with that. Bambi, please let me know if I answered the question sufficiently, like if you feel like you got the answer you needed. If not, let me know and we'll go back and look again. Oh, there we go. Airy Elegance, I just saw it. Did I take it down already? I think I did. See, this is like, how well do I know the Uniwigs lineup? Because now all the toppers are all over the place and they're not labeled. And then at the end of the live, I always put the labels back on them in case I forget somehow by the next live, but of course I don't because I've been working with them for so long. No, you know what? Here it is. This one actually still has a label on it. This is the closed lace, Airy Elegance. So it is similar to Breeze, but just a little bit smaller. So you still have this large parting area. Everything in here is lace. So that means you can part center, you can part left, right, and it's going to be super breathable and transparent. Now, if I put this directly on top of dark, see how that scalp goes away? I mean, it's still there, but it changes. So you do want to either part your hair where you're gonna part the topper or apply a piece of scar tape underneath. So Uniwig still sees in a little packet. They'll come in a little baggie like this, and then you just stick them on and they will last like between washes. So you can leave it on for quite a long time. And then if you put that underneath, it's gonna create a realistic looking scalp, even if the hair underneath is dark. So this is the Airy Elegance closed lace with the halo wire. The halo wire needs to be a little bit tighter to work for me. See, these are so easy. You just pull and then it's gonna get tighter right away. That would be great if you could show with a ponytail. I will. Best way to store, thank you. I knew I was missing a question. Anywhere that is dry, because we don't want humidity, dampness, anything like that when it comes to storing them. So anywhere that is dry and dark and clean. So if they're dry, you can just put them right back in the box. I store these ones that I show on the lives on I have like a portable coat rack, and I hang them on there, but then I cover it. So as soon as I've done the show, they're gonna go back on the rack, and then I cover it with like a plastic, and I keep it in a dry, dark space. But you can just put it back in the box, that's fine too. If I'm being really honest, don't take my advice, but I often just, at the end of the day would throw it over the side of my bathtub or my vanity. But that's not ideal. But I knew those areas were clean, so it was okay. But yeah, ideally dry, dark, clean place. Are there human hair toppers with natural wave and more coarse hair? Yes, so the Burmese is the one that you would want. That would be this one here. So I would go for the Burmese texture if I was looking to have like more kind of coarse, more natural kind of texture and natural wave. And this is completely natural wave, so it's not gonna go away over time. It's not permed. It's completely natural, and you could definitely work it more. Like this is just, I sprayed some water in there, but you can see the curls kind of forming. So the Burmese texture is the one that you're gonna want. Okay, so this is the closed lace, Airy Elegance in, am I wearing moose brown? Moose brown. So she's, oh, that's awesome. So if you want to go for an in-person visit, there's a link there to go try pieces on. Oh, this is so sweet. You are so kind. It's my pleasure. Thank you for being here and for asking such great questions. And all of that helps everybody to learn. So, would you recommend starting with the topper? Honestly, yes. I don't think the toppers are necessarily easier, but I do feel like they feel a little bit more like an extension, whereas a wig feels like a wig. And so I started with, I think I mentioned, right? I tried wigs, they didn't work for me. I went into toppers, and that was successful. I wore toppers for about 4 years before jumping into wigs. And now I wear wigs full time. But I think I often call toppers like the perfect gateway hairpiece. And I think it's because it feels less, I hate to use this word because it's going to sound like wigs are fraudulent. They're not, but sometimes, I don't know if this is the case for you, but for me, I was worried about feeling like I was embarrassed that I was wearing alternative hair, that someone would find me out. And I felt like if they said, hey, what's going on with your hair? Like, why does it look different? I could just say, oh, I'm wearing extensions. And people would just buy it because it really is. It's like a topper extension. So I felt like it was just an easier thing for me to do. But also, I really loved this part. Like, I loved, now this is not a great mix right now in terms of color, but I loved that I could run my fingers through my hair and it felt completely like me. With wigs, I couldn't do that. So I don't feel that way about wigs now. But at the beginning, this was the easier choice. And with time, wigs became an easier choice for other reasons because, as I mentioned, I have curly hair and I didn't want to keep straightening my hair to match toppers. And that was before I knew about Uniwigs and their Burmese texture that can curl. So yeah, this is the Airy Elegance closed lace. I'll just put it in a low pony for now, or a low bun, maybe low pony. And the only thing is if you are going to wear the halo wire, it can be seen if you were to do like a high ponytail, you have to kind of disguise that wire. I don't know if this is a very nice looking ponytail the way I did it, but it does illustrate that you can do things with it. You can play around with it. You could even do like a side braid if it's long enough. Oh my gosh. You can tell I don't really style my hair. I just tend to wear my toppers with my hair down, but yeah, you can do anything with them. But I do think for ponytails going for, see, you can see there, that's where the halo is showing through. So I would have to be sure to disguise that. So it means I'm going to have to do a slightly lower pony. But if you are okay to wear your topper without the halo wire, then it doesn't matter. Claw clip. Let's pull out my little sideburns too, because that's something I would always do. I don't know how this looks. Does it look okay? Did I do okay? I need a proper mirror so I can see at the back. I fly a lot. Oh, I love this question. Will it set off alarms? I have never had it happen. And I was terrified the first time that I flew, and nothing happened. I have exposed my own topper a couple of times now. No, once with a topper and once with a wig, where, you know, when you randomly get selected for the swab thing, I didn't know that that's what they wanted the first time. So they asked me to go to the side and I thought, oh goodness, like I've set something off. And so I went to the side and I just looked at the guy and I said, oh, I know I set it off. I'm wearing, it's like a wig and there's clips in it. And he kind of looked at me and was like, no, like we just need to swab your hand. I'm like, okay, great. So that was when I realized, okay, it didn't set anything off. And subsequent to that, that actually happened again years later, where I was pulled to the side and I said, I'm wearing a wig. And they were like, we don't care. So I have outed myself twice, but no, it's never happened. And I thought it was more likely with toppers because they have more clips than the wigs do, but I've been fine. No one's checked. Now, if it ever happened, you could always just ask for one of the private rooms, right, to be searched or whatever. But yeah, it's been a non-issue, so I wouldn't worry about it. And to be honest, the travel fairy, Dana, that's your name, Dana. A lot of my friends who are in the wig space, like when we talk online about flying, nobody's had an issue. I haven't yet heard of a story where someone has had an issue from flying. So that's good. Doesn't mean that it could never happen, but it's not something that I worry about anymore. But the first time it will stress you out, maybe the second time, and then eventually it's no big deal. So Airy Elegance, very, very similar to the Breeze, just a little bit of a smaller cap construction. Personally, I prefer the Breeze to the Airy Elegance. I think this is a great first time topper, as somebody said. You know, there's the smaller cap means you can more easily kind of put your own hair up without the topper being seen, but I love great coverage in a topper because my hair is so thin. So give me all the hair that you can get on my head. And that means going for a larger base, which means it's going to have more hair overall, and it's going to hide my own thin and sparse bio hair underneath. Because what will happen is if you go for a smaller cap, you're potentially going to see more of your own bio hair at the back, right? So it has good coverage, but you know, my own hair can still be seen if I go for something much, much heavier. So I'll show you Savannah again. It's been a minute since I showed her, just to illustrate the crazy amount of coverage that something like that has. You know, you're not going to see my bio hair. It's a little trick for the silk top. I like to wear them on the side. Now it's going to be uneven, but I always did the part as a side part when I wore her because I feel like it takes the attention away from no, now that looks silly because of the way she's styled. I have to wear it as the center part, but it takes attention away from where the edge of that silk top is. One more time. Oh my goodness. Fourth time lucky. There we go. Thank you. I really, really appreciate you being here and for commenting and asking questions. Okay, so this is, I hope it helps too. Like I hope it actually answers the question so that you feel like empowered to get the right toppers and wigs for you. So you can see here, even if I part the hair, there's just so much more coverage. So much more coverage with this one. So the bigger the cap, the more density, the less you're going to see of your own hair. So my own little sparse bio hair doesn't even matter anymore with something like this. And you can still wear this up, but the ponytail is going to be wildly different. Like look at the size of the ponytail here, right? There's just so much more coverage, but I did wear this piece I used to have hair that matched it better. Now my own bio hair, I dyed it too dark because box dye was not my friend. I was trying to match it to the truffle brown color and I was unsuccessful. Yeah, you can still get this one up in a claw clip or something. And now I can actually fill out a claw clip because I can't do that on my own with my own hair, but with toppers, I can. And in fact, it actually makes it, if you're worried about your top, like toppers aren't going to fly off. Speaking to flying with toppers, I've had to exit a plane on a tarmac before, and my toppers, I do not really install them super securely. Like I just kind of clip a tiny bit of hair. And I remember walking onto a tarmac and the big gust of wind, and I thought, oh my goodness, my hair topper is going to go, and it didn't. But if you are doing something where you feel like you want more security with your hair topper, putting the topper on and then doing a claw clip, it gives a feeling of so much more security. Like it's anchored at the back because you're kind of scooping up some of your own hair in there. So then you can really move around and this is not going anywhere. So if you're going to the beach and you're going to be in that breeze, because we know it's very windy, and you're worried about just the hair blowing around and all the things that could go wrong, they won't. But if you're worried about that, go ahead and throw your hair in a claw clip. You're going to feel like it's extra security. So yeah, good option. Okay, if you are just in the second half with us, we were talking about things to prolong sort of the life of the human hair when we're exposed to summer elements. So some of the things that I talked about were not leaving the hair sitting in salt water, chlorine water. I mean, in general, I would just avoid those things. But if you can't avoid them, make sure as soon as you're done, you give the hair a good rinse, give it a wash, put in some leave-in conditioner or a hair mask, and let that kind of sit. Treat it well afterwards. Also we want to avoid sunscreen. So the chemicals in sunscreen, especially the chemical sunscreen, can turn the hair pink, which is what happened to me, or like orange, brassy. So you want to stay away from that. You're going to have to do a color touch-up sooner. So mineral sunscreen should be okay, but don't take my word for it. I would just be safe rather than sorry. And also stay out of the chlorine and the sun, because the sun will fade the topper or wig hair color, just as it will your bio hair. And if it's a colored topper, so not virgin hair like the Heritage Collection, then the chances of needing to recolor sooner are going to be higher. So you definitely want to be careful about that as well. Options, big sun hat, make sure that you always have one handy, have one in your car, so that if you're going out to a patio or something, you're covered, right? Because at the very least, you could put this on and it protects the hair somewhat. You could put that on and, just do a little low pony or low bun or something to keep the hair kind of covered. So have options available, and potentially have a bonus piece. So something like this is getting older now. It needs a color touch up. This would be the perfect one to wear on the sun, because I know it needs a color touch up soon anyways. Or get yourself a synthetic. So synthetic toppers, synthetic wigs, Wigs actually sells them both, and they do not fade in the sun. They do not oxidize in terms of the color. The fibers can handle chlorine and salt water, and when they get wet, they bounce back into shape. So that's a really good option to make sure that you are covered and you don't end up ruining your style. Nothing is left but to make the decision. No, it's not easy. I have started framing my decisions. Instead of saying like, oh, I feel like I'm going to make the wrong decision, I've started saying, no, whatever decision I make is going to be the right one. And the reality is there's so many beautiful toppers here and there's so many beautiful wigs here, and it is hard to make a decision. But if you do your research and you figure out like what the cap construction is that you are best going to like, if you're beginner friendly, I do think that Courtney is a great option. And if you don't want to do any blending, then go and get the Claire, the Courtney lace front. So upgrade Claire that has the lace, Courtney lace front, or closed lace. And I think you're going to be able to make it work. If you're someone who likes bangs, go for the Skin Top Upgrade Aura or the Savannah and cut bangs into those. So it's just about finding like whatever the style is that you need, we can narrow down the topper that's going to go best with that. And then work with it, make it your own. When it comes out, it's going to look, the part line, I have two that I can compare side by side. We've got dusty ash brown and soft dusty ash brown here. Look at the topper line here. If I put this on right out of the box, it's not going to look good. And it's because I haven't made it mine yet. And I left this one this way because I want to use it as an example time and time again of what happens when you open the box and you pop on that wig. Look at that part line, right? It doesn't look natural because I haven't messed it up yet. I haven't applied water and made it look really like my natural part line. Now look, instant change, right? Instant. So just know that whatever decision you make, you're going to have to take a couple of minutes to make it your own, to make it work for you. You have to get used to seeing yourself in the mirror wearing that hair, especially if you are like me and this is all you're working with. When you throw on a topper like Savannah, it looks like a lot of hair. It can feel really overwhelming. So giving yourself a little time, a little grace, a little patience is going to go a long way. You're looking for a short wig style. Yes, I can definitely show you one. I will show you one right now. My last question is, does the topper clips grab extremely thin hair? So the halo wire is going to be really helpful for that, because I'm just going to quickly check and make sure I didn't miss anything else. We'll wrap it up after these two questions. So there, you only need a little bit of hair for the topper clip to grip on. So you can see here, these are the topper clips that they use. They're soft open close. And I don't find that they damage hair in any way. They only need a little bit. Oops, Got the halo wire in the way. They only need a little bit to, okay, well, this doesn't work because I have a ponytail in. Let's take this out. They only need a little bit. So I don't have a lot of hair at all, but I can make this work. No problem. Without the halo wire. It's going to move around more, but it's going to stay in place. So it still works. But if I really want to flip my head around, I'm going to apply the halo wire. So you don't need a ton of hair, just a little bit, and you'll be fine. So hopefully that helps, because my hair is very thin. Like, not only do I have very little hair, but it's also very fine and very thin, and it grabs on. Short wig style. I will show you. The only short wig style that I have here is the Euro Texture Heritage Collection. It's called the Duchess. It's brand new. And these are all virgin hair pieces. If they have highlighting or something, then that part is colored, but everything else is virgin hair, which means it's going to be really long lasting and not need color touch-ups as quickly. So that is fantastic. We love that. So here's the only short one I have. It's super cute though. It's 8 inches long. It's full of sass, full of style. It's a little edgy. This is like a little wonky because I curled her earlier tonight on this live, and then I put her down on the counter, and so she cooled in an odd position. So this would be an example of a short wig from the company. It comes with a pre-cut style that's super cute. The lace is showing here, but you can either glue it down or just cut into it so that it doesn't show. I love that it really hugs at the nape for me, and I have a flat occipital bone. So if you have a flat occipital bone, you'll probably really like this one. Cute, right? So there we go. There's the Duchess 8-inch. So I hope that this was helpful for you. If you have any last questions about styles, colors, anything that will help you to feel a little bit more assured about your purchasing decision, or which direction you feel like you might need to go, please feel free to ask them now. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up in the next minute or so. So please let me know. What do you recommend for me who's losing hair from my temples and the front hairline? I would go with, if you're losing hair on the front hairline like I am, it's really hard to blend anything in here. So I would get something that has a lace front. So something like this one. So this is the lace front Courtney. This lace here, monofilament here, and it's going to cover my temples. So you won't even know that there's hair thinning on the front of my hairline. You could also do upgraded Claire if you want a smaller topper that has the same kind of construction. Something like this. So this is upgrade Courtney with the lace front. Upgrade Claire is very similar, has a smaller cap. The very same construction, wefts, monofilament, lace, and it's going to help cover all of that front hairline where my hairline is the weakest part. You can't tell because the lace is just melting right into my skin. And it's being pulled down with the halo wire, so you really can't tell. Does that kind of help? What do we think of that one? Do you think that would work for you? I love this one. I think it's really natural density, so it looks very realistic. because it's just not a ton of bulk, and I don't have a ton of bulk in my regular hair. So this would be my recommendation if you're just starting. Let's get something low density. So it doesn't look overwhelming, doesn't look like too much, could look like more, but we don't need it to. We just need it to feel like ourselves, but enhanced a little bit. Are there any other questions about toppers, wigs, color, style, cap construction? I do love this one so much. Look how pretty that is. Okay, then I think I'm going to wrap it up. Can I just say thank you so much for being here? Thank you for your questions, for helping one another out in the chat, for being so kind and complimentary all the way through. It makes this so much easier. I'm always a little nervous about these things, and every time I come on here, I'm always amazed by the community and how much women are willing to share with each other and be vulnerable and ask questions. That really benefits everybody. So thank you so much for that. If you still have questions after this, it doesn't end here. So as you probably noticed, Unawake support has been here all the way through. They are answering your questions. They're putting things up on the screen. They're available all the time, and they are really, really responsive. So feel free to reach out to them. I'm Ashley. I can be found at Life Beyond Locks on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and I'm happy to answer your questions. All of these pieces that you saw here tonight, I have them here so that I can share them with you. I have them here so that if you need to see something, you need a side-by-side of colors or of caps or anything like that, troubleshooting when you get the wig or topper home and you're not sure how to install it or you're not sure how to make it work best for you, you can reach out to me and I will help you with that. No problem. Like that's what we're here for. And that's the big thing is know that there's help. The website also has a blog. It has ways to get answers to your question. They have a good return policy. So know that. I mean, check it out before you make a purchase, but they include in your order the return card, how to go about doing that if it doesn't work out for you. Like there's so much support all along the way. There's possibilities for custom orders with them. So just know that, you're going to be supported. It's not going to be like you make a purchase and then that's it. Nobody's going to be helping you after that. So make use of those things. Trust your gut, trust your instinct, and know that the hardest part of this whole thing, if you are new to wearing pieces, is the first time for everything. So that first time that you wear it, the first time that someone compliments your hair, the first time that you're around friends and family, and that the more you do it, the more you practice, the easier it's going to be and the more natural it's going to feel. And I can promise you that one day, and it won't be the second day or the third day or even the second or third week, but one day you will wear them and it will be the most natural thing for you. Because I got there. It took some time, but I got there and now it's so much better. So keep all of that in mind. Please do reach out. Let me know if you did purchase something, what you purchased, what color you got it in, and how you feel about it once it arrives. I love getting those wins. It just makes me feel really good. So please feel free to do that. And if you make any purchases, know that you can use Ashley15 to save 15% at checkout on anything that you see here on the live or anything site-wide that you decide to purchase. So thank you so much. Please stop by for the next live. And thank you to the Unawake team who've been supporting all the way along. We'll see you again soon.